Let's begin with our prayer. Om Sehana Bhavatu Sehana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God protect both teacher and student. May He nourish us together. May we work together with great energy. May our studies be enlightening. May there be no hate among us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you. All right, so what are we doing today? Are we having an open house? Any comments, share, any thought, any question? How many of you remember what subject we are talking about today? Or since last 2 weeks?
Basically,
do you remember what subject we are talking about in last 2 classes, last 2 Thursdays?
Yes,
or each day is a new day and each day is an open mind and listen and then forget it.
Last 2 sessions, basically you've been guiding us on what is the journey of the soul, what is the purpose of our life, and the journey of the soul after.
Yes,
I won't say life, but
correct. Life
after the current journey, I would say, your life after life, or after this current journey that we are doing.
Yes.
Why we are here and where we are going.
Yes, correct. So the first fundamental thing is, in order to know it, first we must know who we are, what we are. If you remember in the very first class, and I mentioned that the spiritual journey begins only when we make acknowledgement that we are spiritual being. We are the spirit. We are the spiritual being, and we have acquired this human body. So that's the fundamental understanding that we must have, and then develop that to become an experience. Develop that knowledge to have that as an experience. So once you are in that, then all other understanding of what is the life, what is the purpose, where have we come from, where are we going, how are we going, what happens after life is over here on the earth. All that happens only if you are very clear that we are not this body. If you remain in the body consciousness, then, like millions of people believe that this is one-time affair, one-time opportunity. We are here, and therefore we must celebrate, enjoy. Nobody knows what happens next. So that's another way of thinking. But we need to make sure where are we? Where do we stand? What's our understanding? It's not just because you read or you hear somebody and therefore you experience or accept it. There must be some amount of your own study and your own interpretation. And that happens only when you are contemplating on that subject. So that's fundamental. If we are still, and there is nothing wrong, you have to be honest with ourselves and say, look, for us, it's difficult to understand. I know that this is me, this is the body, I am that, and that's all about it. Fair enough. You are at that level, which is not bad. But is that where we stand, or are we able to pursue further than that? That we are not only body, we are essentially something else. Because otherwise, you remember, one thing is to gain a knowledge. Gaining knowledge is in order to drop ignorance, to go beyond ignorance. That's the purpose of gaining knowledge. And that's one small step forward in the right direction, gain knowledge. But gaining knowledge has no meaning unless you implement. When you implement, you get clarity. And once you have a clarity on subject, you try to gain, you not try, but the wisdom is revealed. The wisdom is revealed. And once you have the wisdom, and then you are living life on that principle, that becomes your personal experience. Whatever field, wherever, whichever subject. Unless, so there is in our literature, there are classification of aparoksh jnana, paroksh jnana. So one is the knowledge gained personally, one knowledge gained through the experiences of others. So in Bhagavad Gita also it is said that you can start by learning through the experiences of others. When I say others, I mean to say people who have studied, who have lived a life of that principle. You gain knowledge from their experiences and their life. That's the beginning. Subsequently, one has to adapt that in own life and become a personal experience. And that's based on your personal wisdom. All right, please share your questions or comments.
Acharya, like you said, the journey of the soul, we all descended from the same source, which is nothing but pure love or energy. And whatever evil or wrong that is happening on the earth is because of our identification with the body and not with the eternal soul. So is body really the source of, if the eternal soul is the source of all joy and pleasure, is body the source of all evil? Is that what we are getting at? This ego thing which we talk about, is it really that bad? And is the body itself the source of all evil?
You see, when we talk about evil or something which is not good or something which is not, let's say, righteous, even if you talk about the happening in the world as of now, whether in terms of violence, in terms of hatred, in terms of disease or illness or any of the negativity, is far less than the love that prevails, than the brotherhood that prevails, than the goodness that prevails. But it is the mind conditioning and our, let's say, the way of our lifestyle that we project everything and highlight everything which is not love, which is not based on love, which is not based on goodness, brotherhood. Therefore, when you expose yourself to what I call a world word for you and for most of us is the exposure that we get. Exposure in terms of when you meet a friend or when you have interaction with people and you have a conversation, or you look into the newspapers or magazines or televisions or radios or whatever form of gaining the information. It is not a knowledge. Gaining the information is mostly based on the negativity that is happening around us. And that's unfortunate. But remember that negativity, when you compare with the amount of goodness that prevails, the amount of love that happens, the things that happen based on love is far greater than all the negativity that we know about. That's fact number one. Fact number two, that even whatever manner in which the negativity is projecting itself, it is sometime necessary. When I say it is sometime necessary, because it is through that process the person realizes the value of goodness, value of love, value of brotherhood. If there is, everything is absolutely harmonious, absolutely perfect right here, in such case, this will not be called Mrityulok or the frequency of earth. Then it is as pleasant and as loving as what is termed as heaven. But it is nowhere, none of our spiritual religious faith consider this plane as the heaven. For the sake of saying yes, that you are in heavenly feeling right here. But in reality, no. Because heavenly feeling and the experience is only when every single soul experiences the same love, same frequency of brotherhood and pleasantness, without any exception. That's heaven. So in order to have the value for that kind of life, it is the design of the nature that periodically this event happen. Event of frustration, negativity, war, disease, hatred, violence, all that. It's actually, if you want to think positively, it is actually happening because it is teaching us what we must not do, what we must not indulge in. And that's a teaching, that's a lesson that we need to learn out of it. However, once, as I said, once you gain a knowledge, once you are getting clarity of the reality, all that is not happening in your world. It may be happening to anybody, anywhere, but not in your world, because your world is limited to function at the level of love and function of level of brotherhood. Once you establish your understanding firmly that you are Sat Chit Ananda, you are the existence, consciousness, bliss. Everything else is just the projection. Everything else is just an appearance that is superimposed on the reality. So it is not the body alone, but it is the mind which has been conditioned to create this kind of situation, which we call negativity or hatred or war or violence. The body alone is not, more than a body, it is your mind, it is your thought that creates that world. The world of pleasant feeling or world of not pleasant feeling. The consciousness, the Atma is not in there, because as you know, it is always in bliss. It is combination of your gunas with your karma is your destination. Gunas are three, as you know, Sat Guna, Rajas Guna, and Tamasic Guna. Whichever, and all three are present among us, all three. None of us are operating purely on one of them. we at some time operate more based on Rajasic Guna, sometime more on Tamasic Guna, sometime more on a Satguna, Sattvic Guna. So it's a combination of three. What is the combination in terms of percentage that you have is what determines your personality. I would say your individuality. So you are, most of the time you operate mainly based on Sattvic Guna, that's your, or mostly on Rajasic. So that's one. Second is your karma, is your destiny, is your effect that you are experiencing based on causes that you have generated previously. So how do you deal with your karma? Under what gunas you operate is your destiny, is your location of your, when I say your, I mean your Atma, your soul. After this, the next life of your soul is placed based on your operation in this life, operation of your guna and your karmic account.
So at one level, we talk about, you've spoken about destiny, and on one level, you've spoken on free will, that it is up to us how we work with the free will. But ultimately, it's all destiny.
You see, what we are faced with is our destiny. The situation that we are in is our destiny. How do we respond to that is our free will. Because based on how we respond to it, generates our agami karma, our next karma account. If we respond in a manner that, look, I am consciousness, I have the body, I have this body and this life on this earth as a son or as a father or as a whatever role that you are performing now, you are only performing your role, just like an actor on a movie or on a drama. You are only performing. You are not that. You are only doing your best. So first is to perform your duty, but perform in the best of your ability, not for the sake of doing it, but doing it as the best of your ability with all your heart and mind. And third and most important, expecting nothing as a result, nothing as a reward. You are performing without expecting any reward, and whatever reward is gained, you are taking it as the offering from the higher self, offering from the supreme consciousness, call it God. And it's so beautifully mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says that you perform your duty as a duty. Do it as best as you can. Expect nothing. Surrender all your performance to me. Capital me. That means him. Surrender everything. Perform every activity as if you are doing to me. And whatever reward that you may get, take it as a prasad. Take it as my offering to you. That's the way that you are continuing your life, activity, whatever performance that you are doing without creating agami karma. Because you are not claiming any reward, you are not claiming any result, you are accepting it as it comes. But there is a fine line there. It's like walking on a sword's edge. Moment you have a thought that I deserve it, you are back in the cycle of karmic account. So you have to be vigilant, aware all the time that I am not the doer. All position, status, whatever I am only doing my role as best as I can. So one thing is linked to other.
So all that I achieve, all that I get, or is all that I've achieved is basically not my karma, but my uh, just rewards, as they say.
Whatever that you have is what you have deserved. Whether it's a pleasant, whether it's experience or relationship or material in physical form or otherwise, all that you have is what you deserve. And in other words, you have attracted that in your life. Good, not good, happy, not happy, pleasant, not pleasant, whatever it is only as a result or a reward of what you actually deserve, not what you desire, only what you deserve. However, when you work with awareness that I must operate my life based on the values of higher gunas and offering all activity to the higher self, claiming no doership and reward, you try to avoid further karmic account. And that's one very little step forward in reducing your life and death on this planet, the cycle of life and death. You reduce. It doesn't come to an end because you have massive baggage of karmic account, which we are not aware of, based on our thousands of lives before. So, but this is one little step that from now onwards, you are not creating further new. And that's awareness. That's the beginning should happen now, here and this moment. If you think I will think about it, I will maybe do it tomorrow or next time or next month or next birthday or next New Year, you are losing the opportunity. This moment, right now, it should strike it as a lightning that, oh, this is right, and I must follow the lifestyle of where I reduce my karmic account. So, there are two ways of, there's one saying that the work in progress, where you are understanding the whole thing about it, and then you start working upon it, and then slowly you improve your lifestyles and based on Sattvic Guna, which is work in progress. The other way is here and now, immediate 360-degree U-turn, complete U-turn. When I say complete U-turn of your understanding of life. Remember, we are talking about life after this life. If you don't take U-turn now and operate based on higher values and higher gunas, the life after this life is not very pleasant, because as I said earlier, we would have to undergo and close our karmic account no matter whether we have this physical body or not. The only thing is, when your next life, when you drop this body, the soul experiences much more loving atmosphere, much more pleasant, much more beautiful. People around you have the same, this soul, let's say my soul, when it moves on, my soul will have no physical body, but other than physical body, everything else is the same. My memories, my ego, my attachment, everything remains as it is. And when I meet other soul, there is no physical body, so you do not recognize, but you only identify through the thought. They communicate at the level of thoughts and mind. They identify instantly as a feeling. There is no communication, as a feeling. that this light, the light being, as we say, it's just a sparkle of light, has no body, but that's the spirit, that's the soul, belongs to, let's say, your grandfather or your grandmother or your loved one. You recognize this instantly as the thought from your mind. It's a communication between two souls. However, there are possibilities, as it reads in many literature, that the soul, some soul which are advanced, have ability to adapt some amount of form, which is not a solid, but it is merely an outline of a form, just to experience the relation of your near and dear one. So that's entire world of itself, which exists in different frequencies, that is beyond this earth, beyond this life.
But Acharya ji, this understanding actually makes us go into a state where there's nothing to plan. So that means nothing to do further.
No, it is, there are, it is not that you have nothing to do. There is a karta, akarta, and vikarta. You don't have to take you don't claim the doership, you don't become a karta. But at the same time, you do not become a karta, non-doer. But you remain vikarta, which means you are doing all that you have to do merely as your performance. Just merely as performance, very clear understanding that if I am the head of the family, whether man or woman, I have to do certain things for the family and I must do it. And for that, if I had to do certain planning, you do certain planning. But very clear understanding that I am not doing it. I'm just performing it in order to fulfill purpose of this life. The purpose of this life is to do the spiritual evolution, gaining further spiritual knowledge, realizing that I am that supreme soul, the peaceful, infinite, eternal. And I just have this body for maybe 50, 60, 70, 100 years. But 100 years in terms of cosmic scale is just nothing. It's just nothing. So this body, of course, we do love our body, no doubt about it. We should look after body. We should think of our body, but not as the only thing. The body is only a vehicle that helps us to close our karmic account, to perform our responsibilities and our duties, and to gain certain evolution, spiritual evolution. As we have spoken other times, that there are three manners in which you evolve. One, devotion, bhakti marg, where you do devotional services and the bhakti marg. Second is karma yoga, that you do seva, you do service, you do helping others selflessly. And the third is jnana yoga, knowledge, contemplation, wisdom, clarity. All these three are possible only if you have body. If you do not have body, you remain a soul, and soul floats. It's just floating in the vacuum. So when we talk about life after life, the soul continues without a form and it floats. It floats in the space and in that frequency. Has no physical manner of doing any activity. It's all based on mind, your thought. Operate based on your thinking, your thoughts and feelings and emotions, mental state. And as I said last time, we got this opportunity on this earth planet like a school. So we learn here, and then we appear in the final exam, gain the merit, and continue our journey. What you learn here is helpful for this life beyond this life. First and foremost is one should be very clear that there is life after this life. Many people struggle to even acknowledge that there is life after this life, which is okay because it's just that ignorance person is still not reached a point at the level of realizing it. And that happens only when you are, first you have to be open to know it, and you mingle with people who are, when I say people, I literally mean the soul. There are soulmates. All of us have our own soulmate right here. They may not be with you right now, but they may be anywhere in the world, but there are soulmates. And one time or the other, they do communicate, consciously or superconsciously. And that's how you gain wisdom, you gain the clarity, you gain the higher knowledge. It could be that you would encounter a person just for a while, and you get the feeling that you do feel like meeting the person again because there is something that is attracting. It's nothing but your being a soulmate, being some account that is not closed from your previous life. And that is how it continues in next life. They meet up again. They do share all their experiences. There are different way of explaining this. There is something called Theosophical Society, which is also in India, of course. It all founded in Chennai in India by Annie Besant, and they had this also based on the Indian wisdom and culture, plus other Greek, mostly Greek and Egyptian, I believe, or Roman or sometime. So they believe that there are combination. It's like a pyramid. It's like a pyramid that you have different domes from the gross level to the subtle level. And the journey of soul is then tapered it and narrowed down to the tip of your triangle. And that's how the pyramid were built. So the Theosophical Society clearly talks about your operation is based on understanding of spirit, energy, and matter. Or is it matter, energy, and spirit? So imagine a triangle. You have 3 points, top and 2 at the bottom. Now your operation of your life consciously, is it based on the understanding of spirit, energy, and matter? Or is it matter, spirit, and energy? So these three, the combinations are changed at different levels. Sometimes the top level is spirit, energy, and matter. Some people place the matter on top, spirit and energy at the bottom. What's your understanding of operation in this life decides where you would be your next life, which frequency, which plane. As we spoke last time, each one has to go through that. But the time that you spend on different frequency is based on your lifestyle here. Yes, please.
Again, I am coming back to the same point. There is a karma. What is the determinant of so many things, right? So who is doing the karma? Our soul or our body?
Our neither body nor soul, our mind.
Our mind. Okay.
Yeah, our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our belief system.
But physically we are doing karma with our bodies, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So physically, we are doing karma by body as well as by thoughts and feelings and emotions. So both, it's a combination of body, mind, and intelligent. So 3 BMI, body, mind, intellect.
Intellect, yes, intellect. Okay. Then what is the origin of mind?
What is what?
Origin of mind.
Origin of mind. Excellent. Very difficult question. The mind, as I said, I think we should next Thursday we'll start that subject. It will take 2-3 classes. Mind, what we call mind. If I ask you, where is your mind? What would you say? Where is your mind? Do you have a mind?
It is on the whole body.
So if it is, the body is dead when we die, do you think the mind would die?
Not the body. Then I must do some karma.
We cannot think. I think so.
So if the mind was only throughout the body, the answer, natural, obvious answer is that when body dies, it is burnt or cremated, the mind is gone. But reality, it is not true. Mind is still exists. So how does it happen? Where is that mind then? So the complexity is that what we think we have a mind is only a very small portion that we possess in this body and mind and intellect, which is interlinked with the cosmic mind, which is, let's say, macro manas, macro mind. So we spoke about Akashic record, you remember? There are these cosmic frequencies where Karana Sharir, causal body, we spoke about. So the causal body is the cause of this body, mind, intellect of individual. But if there is a causal body of this universe, of this existence, which caused the creation, and every single thought, every single that happens. For instance, if you are interested and if you are listening or reading about the planetary positions and cosmology, etc., you would know that there are movements of the planets and solar systems and Milky Ways and galaxies, etc., and intergalactic activities. All that is precisely designed, planned, and it happens according to what it's supposed to happen. Whatever that's supposed to happen, it's happening only according to that, which means it is predetermined. Who decide that? In that cosmic mind, in that higher manas, as they say. And the similar way, we as individual soul has our own causal body, Karana Sharir. And Karana Sharir of 8 billion people or 10 billion people collectively become cosmic mind, higher manas. And that higher manas is connected to this, what we call a manifestation, the power, Prakriti, Maya, nature, whatever you call, which is based on particular. So the thought that you may get is not the thought that you are the one who is thinking. It has some link to that causal body. So we only are the receiver of the thought. It is conceived at higher level. It is perceived by our brain, and it is received by our mind or our conditioning, our thinking. So it is a mind-blowing, let's say, design of the existence. We think that we are the one who's, I got this thought. It's not, I'm not thinking. It's not I created that thought. That thought actually comes on you. So it is not only our mind.
Acharya, thought is coming from other point. Somebody from the the source of thought. Then action also be decided by where from where my thought is generated from that source, or I am responsible for that.
When you, as I said, when you are the one who claimed the doership, when you say, I got it thought and I must do this, I am one who's doing it, and I am this body, this possession, this identity, then you are claiming doership and therefore you are creating your karma. But when you say, I am not, I am only doing because I am performing my role as I am now here, whatever position, whatever level, as a mother, as a wife, as an employee, whatever, just do your role. Just perform your duty, that's it, and do it well. Not half-heartedly, not without planning, not without thinking about it. Do everything, but keeping things very clear. It is only playing a role. And not claiming.
Since childhood, we have been taught whatever you are doing, do it with the ownership. So that
Correct.
ownership, I need to use.
Correct. Yeah. Not claiming ownership on anything. Yeah. So you see, the spiritual knowledge and the journey of life is not something that you can understand and follow and feel understood in just 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or 10 hours of discussions and reading and satsangs. It is taking lives and lives together, not one life. Maybe it requires many more lives because it's so complex. It is interlinked. It is, but when I say it is complex only because we are, our mind, our understanding, our intellect is so heavily conditioned. And to get out of that takes time. To drop the ignorance and to come to a reality takes time. Reality is not difficult. It is very simple, easy. But our ego, mainly our ego, creates hurdles and do not let us realize the absolute reality. We are happy in accepting the relative reality. Relative reality is what we see, what we perceive, what we touch, our 5 senses, whatever 5 senses can grasp is for us reality. Whereas in absolute truth, it's not true. There is something which our senses cannot grasp, is the actual reality. So it is, yes, please.
Karma is the determinant of our next life. Okay. So what happened to Siddharth? Finally, how much work he did, except the meditation and searching for the salvation system of mankind?
When you say what happens, you should realize that he spent hundreds of lives before to come to that life when he was liberated. It did not happen right there. We consider the lifetime that we know, and we realize that in this lifetime, he achieved moksha, or he was liberated or self-realized. But it was work in progress from many lives. But actual realization happens instantly. But to happen, that realization to happen instantly, there must be a preparation. And preparation, when I say, is this, the spiritual journey. That it takes many lives to come to a complete understanding that you are consciousness. There is no difference between you as human and that supreme, that God we call. There is no difference. There is absolutely no difference. We are God. And I remember a very popular statement of Osho. Osho was claiming and being called as Bhagwan Rajneesh. And there were people who did not like it. And they said, why? How do you call yourself Bhagwan? You are enjoying your life like nobody. You're having Rolls Royce and women and watches and lovely resorts, etc. And yet you call yourself Bhagwan. He says, I call myself Bhagwan because I know I am Bhagwan. I do not stop you calling yourself a Bhagwan because I believe that all of us are Bhagwan. And Bhagwan does not mean that you become a pauper or you become a sufferer or you become miserable. You don't have to be. You can be what you are, wherever you are Bhagwan. So long you have that clarity and wisdom. I think there is also very popular statement in one of these discourses that I read, that Lord Hanuman was asked by Lord Rama, who are you? And he says, look, with my body, I am your sevak, I am your das, I am your servant. With my mind, I am your devotee, I am your bhakta. But with my soul, I am you. I am Lord Rama myself. And that's the truth. When you are operating based on being pure consciousness itself, you are the entire existence that we know or what we don't know. The entire manifestation and beyond is what we are. It is in us. When I say us, is the consciousness. How many of you have read or heard of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi? So imagine you had the same, entire life he is considered to be a reincarnation, or Ramakrishna Paramhansa, or all of them, they at point came when they realized that I am that supreme being. And there is no difference between that consciousness and the whom we call God. So there is no difference. Such people, coming back to our subject of life after life, such people who got awakened here on this lifestyle, in this lifetime, after they drop the body, the soul leaves the body and it goes through all the 7 frequencies quickly. But they all have to go through them. It's not that they avoid the frequency 1, 2, and they jump to 7. No, they all go through the 7, but they go it quickly. They don't have to take a pause in each frequency. They are in that what is known as Ananda, depending on your awakening level. You are in that field of Ananda, which is Jana Loka, which is the universal, where all the sages and rishis stay. And there are consciousness which have progressed further. They go into the Chit, and then further on to the Satya Loka. But they don't stay in lower frequency for a long time. They move faster. I was reading yesterday about some, and it seems that when the soul leaves this body, I think I mentioned last time, for some time it is around the body, yeah, and it watches people grieving and mourning and crying, whatever. And the soul becomes so desperate to communicate, please do not cry, please do not grieve, I am happy, I am peaceful, I am relaxed, do not cry for me. The soul wants to communicate, and the person to whom it wants to communicate obviously do not listen to that message. And that gives the pain to the soul. And the soul suffers, and it holds the soul back and does not let soul move forward. And that the soul experiences the condition which are so painful, because it wants to move forward a higher journey, but the attachment holds it back. And therefore, no matter how much near and dear one we have, one must realize that it is just the body that is gone. You cannot interact with that body, but mentally you can communicate with that departed soul. You can communicate and receive the message also if you are open enough. That link remains open. But for that, you have to first come to a firm understanding that you and that soul is one. At that level, there is no difference. There are no others. So there was this that I was reading, that the soul travels after whatever 7 days or 3 days, depending on the attachment on this planet, on this life. And then when it goes, all those souls have more or less the same experience. They experience moving through a tunnel, kind of tunnel. There is no tunnel, but there is feeling of that you are in the cloud and you are floating through the cloud. And there is no such thing as a time as we can talk about on this planet and say 3 days or 7 days or 10 days. There is no time. It could be instant, or it could be a long experience of traveling through the tunnel. And they do see the light, they do see the brightness, they do feel there is no communication verbally. They do feel the love, empathy, and the brotherhood of different souls around it. And there is a guiding soul, as we call angel, waiting, receiving this soul, guiding it for further journey, introducing to the near and dear one who are present. There is a lot that I can say, but we don't have time. Do you know that there is, I told you, there is a parallel universe. We exist parallelly in different universe. The person whom you know, and know in the sense you are emotionally so very attached in this lifetime here, whom you call genuinely a soulmate. You leave the body, you move on. That person still here. But the mystery is you meet that person also in that frequency. You in the sense, the soul. Soul meet that person in that frequency as a soul. Remember, the person is alive on this earth here, but the soul is recognizes the soul. So this is the causal body that I'm talking about, the Karana Sharira. So all of us have our, let's say, major part in that field, in that frequency. That's why when we go, we find suddenly everything very familiar. because that is where we come from. And we do have our existence there. It is only the spark that drops and descends and we take the body. The spirit remains. I mentioned earlier, there is a difference between spirit and soul. Spirit is there in that spirit world. The soul takes the mind and intellect and human body and descends to this frequency. But that spirit is also there.
Is that spirit is what we called as angels or guiding angel or something else?
So each spirit has its will, free will, to operate as an angel, guiding angel, or not. There are spirits who like to refrain from taking the assignment of being a guiding angel. They just want to be in that frequency and stay, enjoy that bliss, as we say, and stay in the blissful frequency. But there are spirits who willingly accept to render the service to new approaching soul. And so usually it's your family, your friends, your dear ones whom you have very emotional attachment on this lifetime are the one who welcome you, who greet you, but beyond that, if you, for example, you don't have any of them, then there is a guiding angel always available. They don't make judgment, they don't interfere, they do not, it is a communication as a emotion, as a thought, as a feeling, as a gut feeling that you communicate through it. So depending on your lifestyle here, you get all that experiences in that other frequencies. And there are many such records available who have in the meditation, in the samadhi, in the trance mode of trance, are able to see it. And later on, if they want, they can communicate, they can explain. But most of them, they do not. And this is the difference with prayer and meditation. I mentioned earlier sometime that meditation is something where you allow the voice to come to you as a gut feeling, emotion, and you become a receiver. And to become a receiver, you have to be still and silent and empty, which means you do not operate based on fear, ego, and expectation. You just accept it as whatever comes to you, whatever thought, voice comes to you. That's meditation. So during that samadhi, that meditation, this is revealed, different frequencies, how the soul behave there, what soul's activity, what are the soul's way of communicating. Tremendous possibility. I'm just mentioning a couple of them, but there are thousands of different manners in which the soul can conduct themselves in those frequencies. So it is a time, I do not know whether added in your confusion or some clarity.
The more I learn, the less I know.
Which is true. That is really true. Our prayer every time that we do Asatoma, that itself is the same about the life. Take me from darkness to the light.
Light.
Take me from the ignorance to the wisdom. Take me from the mortality to immortality. That's the prayer. Thank you very much. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritangamaya Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, God, for giving us air to breathe. Thank you, God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us sun for energy. Thank you, God, for giving us food to eat. Thank you, God, for giving us good health and happiness. Thank you, God, for giving us positivity. Thank you, God, for giving us all that we need. Thank you, God, for your love, your protection, your guidance, your blessings. Thank you, God, for the existence. Thank you for giving me a chance to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Acharya ji.
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you. Hope you get some time to think about what we spoke.
Acharya ji, good morning.